You know, when you really look at what is going on right now, people have got no jobs. People have applied. Young people did everything that they were told to do. Go to school, you did. Do your homework, you did. Stay out of trouble, you stayed clean. You saw some of your friends fall into traps. But you hung out, you hung out big time. You did everything right. You got your diploma, you got your degree, applied for jobs. If you're lucky, you get a regret letter. But generally, it's just silence. It's as if nobody cares. Everybody cares about Trump, cares about Ramaphosa. Everybody talks about black economic empowerment, care about wars. They don't care about what matters most. They don't care about you. And so you sit there and you just think, like, what is this all going to? But you look at yourself, you blame yourself. But I'd like you to think about something. That yes, everything is broken. But whatever it is that is broken, it's not you. It's the system that's broken. It's the system that's not letting you in. And we've got to find a new way of getting into the system. Build new doors, break old doors if necessary. But the problem is not you. And what we need to change the system is we need you to keep believing in yourself, keep believing in the abilities that you've got that make you go through all the hurdles that were put through to you, and you jumped each and every one of them. Sometimes you fell. But when you fall, just remember we are always there for you. That's what parenting is about. That's what being a Khultman is about. It's not about Ushayin Kwele and everybody thinks good you're hot. In that, they call me the cool uncle. Being a cool uncle has got a great responsibility, a responsibility of taking care of someone else who's much younger, to whom you say, take your shot, Melaiti. Take your shot, girl. And if you fall, I'm right here for you. I'm going to carry you as much as I can, like I carried you when you were younger. Sometimes I'll fall with you, but I'm there for you. You know, Oliver Tambo, or Tambo, after whom the airport is named, and who was a great leader of the ANC and helped usher our freedom, also went through a really hard time. Finished his degree, couldn't get a job. Applied and applied and applied. He was a sickly child at some stage, had asthma, that's why he had to move up to Joburg, because the winters were better, just sunny. So going through a difficult time is life. It's what gets you, it's the fire that gets you to become a better person. It does not make it easier being in a fire. You can see when you're cooking, the water boiling, and the boiling that goes on inside you. But to be able to get out of that fire, we need that self-confidence and the understanding that help is not going to come from outside. We need you to have that self-confidence, that belief that black economic empowerment is not going to help you. Because if you sit down and wait for somebody else to empower you, it means you're remaining powerless. President Thabo Mbeki's grandmother started an organization called, or one of the people who started the organization called Zenzele Movement. What we need you to do is to keep your head high as you get the beatings. Never give up on changing the system. And know that many great people ahead of us have gone through what you are going through. Talk to us, talk to other people, comment and say, what can we do? Because you've got the mind, you are the genius that can make things happen, that can make things change. It's not your hustle that is wrong. It's not all the things that you've been trying out that have bounced on your head that are bad. It's a system that's unforgiving. You know, you do your best and you look at the feedback that's coming out. It's pretty much like a cell phone that has run out of data. And it's just, your phone would know, you've got no data anymore and you see it buffering. It's like someone who's bought a car and the car, a second-hand car or whatever car, but for some reason it's not running. The problem is not you, it's the engine, it's the system. Maybe something in there, there's some fires that are not connecting. And it's not because you're a bad driver. It's not because you can't use a phone when you've got no data. It's the system. And you know, when you look at the characters of some of the guys, like Tambo in particular, who've got a peace model, this guy brought help in his fight against apartheid, also brought peace to the country. If you look at Thabo Mbeki, you look at Mandela, I want to talk about one thing that they have, and I'd like you to practice this thing all the time. The ability to listen. To sit down and listen. Yes, you've got ears, but you actually listen with your heart. To understand what this person is saying, get a connection with what they are saying to you and listen to them. Don't fidget with your phone. Don't write notes. Look them in the eye and listen. Because you'll be able that way to be able to help him or her or whoever that organization may be. You know, President Thabo Mbeki at 11 years old, one of the chiefs in Tuchwa called him and said, we're having this problem. The white government wants us to kill our cattle. And we've had Ulungawuse where people killed a lot of their cattle. What can I do? He was 11 years old at that time. Now, if an 11-year-old, a king, a chief, can go to an 11-year-old to ask for help because he had gone to school. I think he was in standard 5 at the time, thereabouts. But he trusted him, he trusted his mind. You can imagine, with you having done all the things you've done, having all the experience that you've gained, how much power you've got in your mind. So the chief said then, and listened to him. But before that, he listened, looked at the old man, didn't judge him, listened with his heart, which means look at the person, look them in the eye. Sometimes it's hard to look at somebody in the eye for long. Look at them in the eyebrows, look at the nose, look at the mouth. Think, let them see and feel that you're listening to them. Just learn to be quiet for a good 20 minutes and train yourself and try, because you are a leader who is in training. Leaders have to go through difficult times because they cannot lead people who are going through difficulties if they themselves have not felt the pain. The difficulty, the problem, the challenge may not be exactly the same, but the pain of being alone, of feeling unheard, of feeling unseen, invisible, of feeling like the whole world doesn't care about you. It's a very lonely feeling. And if you've been able to get out of it, which you will be able to advise somebody else on how to get out of it. A very good question is a very fair question to ask. Is, you know, even if you've been given a formula, you know that 1 + 1 is 2. You've been told that dedication and hard work lead to success. But all that you're getting is silence. What do you do? Can you imagine Nelson Mandela, 18 years in Robben Island, all he hears are not just his thoughts, sometimes even his own thoughts are blocked by the sound of the sea crashing in the waves. Wow. Wow. 18 years. Sometimes his wife was arrested. She was in jail as well, leaving 2 young children without parents. Can you imagine how it's like knowing your children are orphans, yet you're still alive? Can you imagine you're in your grave and you're still alive? You can basically hear the cries of your young children. You know the pain they're going through. It hurts you even more. Think of their mother, who's also been arrested in Kroonstad. And all you hear are these deafening waves crashing on the island. You can't get out. You're told when to eat. Your pain is heavy, but their pain is even heavier in your mind. You're going, what are my kids going through? The same thing with President Thabo Mbeki, his father, Governor Mbeki. They're sitting there in prison. Mandela for 18 years on the island. And then they take him to the mainland in Paulsmoor prison. Exactly the same thing. It's a cold room. It's damp. He doesn't even see the sea anymore. He doesn't even hear the ocean anymore. Surrounded by the quiet and the silence and the coldness of the wine farms around him there. And prisoners singing from time to time, singing about their pain, and him thinking about how do we make the world better? How do we save lives? He sees other people coming into prison. They tell him about the stories of more shootings out on the mainland, as they used to say. More prisoners are coming in. How do I solve this problem? And here's this man who's got a degree, and not just him, he's got degrees. So do his comrades. They've studied. They did everything that they were asked to do, like you have been asked to do. But they find themselves isolated, unable to use them, unable to give money to their parents who were still alive to take care of them. Mandela's still in prison, and he gets news that his firstborn son has died, Uthembekile. Sitting there and go, oh my God. They won't even allow him to go to the funeral. His mother, Nesekeni, dies, and he asks for permission to go and bury his mother. Can I just go and say bye, Mama? Because she's never coming to prison to see him anymore. That humble request is denied. And one of Mandela's greatest achievements, he thought, was when his mother came to his graduation. Now, she had been to his graduation. She saw him graduate. And now he's unable to help her because he's in prison. And she'd always been with him when he was in trouble, when he'd lost his father. She had said to him, harden your head, Pezulu, let me be strong. The Fontala, let it be strong. But now he's in prison. He only sees her through a glass, and she only sees him through a glass. They can't touch each other. And then she passes away around the same time as Mandela's son, but in a car accident. So great leaders do go through troubles. They do go through really hard times. Hard times, and hard as they are what humanity is about. It does not make you less of a human being, less strong, less good, just because you are in a situation. It's like winter. You don't have control over winter. You don't have control over summer. You see the clouds, the white clouds, and you get hope. But we get real rain from the dark clouds. It's when you're going through these difficult times that I'd like you to think about, what can I do to make society better? Because when you make society better, that's how you go out. What can you do in a community? I call a few guys and let's clean, let's pick up the papers. Let's sweep, and we'll be tired. And we'll go and sleep after that. But we'll be thinking. And when you are working, when you are doing all the hard work, that's when inspiration comes. You know, I was in Mitchell's Plain last week. And I met a really, really lovely gentleman who started a big and a really good business. He said to me, you know, Muzi, I'm the firstborn at home. And I come from a very poor family, he told me. Very, very poor family. And as the firstborn, I was the one who was supposed to go and queue at the soup kitchen. So I must wake up early in the morning and queue. And he's a pretty tall guy. So sometimes it'd be the tallest guy, and he feels like everybody sees him. Everyone is watching him as a tall guy. And he thought when he was there that there could be a better way of giving to people without them losing their dignity. And he started this loyalty business, which is really an NGO. And the question he was asking is, how do I reconstruct the society here in Mitchell's Plain? I met a guy in Khayelitsha and met his parents, and we were speaking. And he's done very well now. And he's got a great future ahead of him. And he told me how difficult it was when his parents lost their spaza shop. When the Somalis and the Pakistanis came and started selling at cheaper prices. They had a soccer team in his family. Life was good. He grew up in a good home. He went to school. He did all the things that are important to do. But winter came. The storms came. And things fell apart. And his mother told me a very inspiring story to say, and there he was preparing for the exam. And the candle that was left was about the same, I was about as a thumb, burning. And she had no money. She had to go out and borrow money so they could buy 10 rands worth of electricity. Well, 8 rand, and which came with a 2 rand bonus. So he could prepare for exam tomorrow. Because that exam would help the child, her son, if she passed, to go to a better future. That's the power. That's the deep and hard work that our parents do for us because they love us. She went 2 houses, couldn't help her. Finally, the 3rd one. Then she ran and buy from a Pakistani or Somali shop that she competed with and lost business to. But so she could keep her sons at school. There are people who love you, and all we need you to do is love yourself in return. Return our love by keeping your confidence alive. Speak to your friends, speak to us, comment here, subscribe. We'll respond to your comments like, let's think about what can we do together. Because you are an important part of this community, of this society. A house cannot stand when the bricks are missing. It will have holes. And we need you to be a brick, as you are the brick that keeps this house called South Africa. You're keeping it up. And there'll be pressure. Think about the brick that's in the middle of the wall. There's pressure above, there's pressure below, pressure from the sideways. But we need to stand against the rains that butter it. against the heat that make it expand and the cold that make it contract. You're an important part, an important brick of our lives. And we need you to hold up that candle that is burning, that is about to finish. As the mother said, she says, when I got back, it was about to die. And I used the very last light to key in the number on the meter, and the light came on. That's what we need from you. We need you to stay alive. We need your confidence burning, because it gives us the hope and the responsibility and the duty to make sure that things change and get better, not only for you and me, but for the future generations too. In the same way that our leaders, when they were young, they thought of us and you, and they paid a very, very, very heavy price. They were able to pay that heavy price because they still believed. 18 years, the sea saying, you're going nowhere, you can't cross me. It wasn't going to open like it did for Moses. But the hope that stayed in them stayed there. There's a friend of mine who's Cindy, always says to me, where there's no hope, there's no wonder. Where there's no hope, there's no magic. And we need you to keep that hope alive. Keep it burning. Keep it feeding not only your fire, but our fire too. Because without it, there's no magic. Without hope, there's no great future.